Welcome to session 4, setting brands up for success. This is a fun session, very much focused on launch and marketing and empowering brands and partners to help your pop-up succeed when the time comes to launch. So, as we've been reiterating throughout this accelerator, partnership and support is really essential for everyone's success. And the brands feel prepared, it reflects well on them and you as their partners in the municipality. And it gives them the confidence to really run with the pop-up opportunity and let things take shape. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what helps make that happen. And so the first and perhaps most tangible piece is signage. So having really clear, professional, well-placed, visible signage is essential. So looking first at window graphics, we love to use vinyl die cut graphics because they look really polished and elevated, but they are fairly low cost. And these can be done by a professional designer, installer, uh, and all different ways, typically conform easily to any rules and regulations with the town or the city. And white, perhaps somewhat counterintuitively, is really the color that pops. So it's the most visible. It's great for vehicular and pedestrian traffic, and it just kind of brings things together and unifies. A-frames, although maybe a touchy subject in some municipalities, are really helpful. So whenever possible, we love to see A-frame signage that gets specific. So as much as you can, point to the specific brands, the hours of operation, upcoming events, whether it's a mix of pre-printed signage with a schedule or a chalkboard sign with an artist who can make it look uh, current and beautiful with a rotation of information. This is a really helpful tool to put right outside the door, perhaps down the block, any place that it's permitted. And then finally, banners or temporary overhead signage. So overhead signage can get very costly. So in terms of complementing window graphics and A-frame signage with overhead signage, I would recommend seeing what your budget allows for, having it professionally designed, and opting for either something that will present well. These are all examples of temporary signage. This is vinyl placed directly on a surface. These are printed panels. This one has a multidimensional sort of 3D printed element to it. But if you cannot do it fairly well, I would skip it altogether. We really want to make sure that it doesn't look sloppy because you are trying to put the best foot forward possible for the brands that you're supporting. And so getting into the nitty-gritty, how you're bringing this to life. You're coordinating printing signage in advance, centralizing the process, working with local vendors. This is a great chance to support companies within your city or town that offer this service. Perhaps you have a designer in-house or can work with a local designer, or in some cases, lean on the brands who have that talent on their own teams. But essentially, you want to guide this process because it is a piece that will unify multiple brands in a space and also tie in your municipality and the verbiage that you want to use. And since you typically have an open line of communication with the zoning office at City Hall or Town Hall, it's great to have this conversation up front. Understand what the guidelines are. Can they be fast tracked for approval? Can they be pre approved? What are the different tools that you can put in place to make sure that this doesn't get caught up in red tape and they need to open with no visible signage? And then installation of support, budgeting for professional installation, lining someone up or a couple of different options to compare quotes. Ideally, you can get this in place before opening, but no later than opening day. And it's a great opportunity for co-branding. So taking signage and adding your municipal name, just as we do with Project Pop-Up and then the municipality, powered by Up Next. Just an example, it can be Project Pop-Up, it can be your own name for the initiative, it can be something specific to the city or town. There's all sorts of ways to get creative here, but coupling that name with the individual brand names and making sure everyone has a strong presence is a really great tool. And again, this is just a really tangible way to set them up for success and make sure people know they're there. It can be used as a billboard when they're not open. It can be used to build buzz and excitement throughout the pop-up. So let's talk a little bit about partnerships and promotion. as the pop-up is opening and continuing on throughout its duration and after. So pretty low-hanging fruit, working with the local chamber of commerce. They're often well equipped to kick things off with a ribbon cutting, working hand in hand with the city or town. They have a great network, typically a strong email and social media reach. And it's really this collaborative effort. If you can work out something where the brands that are popping up become temporary or even permanent members of the chamber, that's a wonderful relationship to foster and just brings everyone together and puts everyone rowing in the same direction on the same page. Same goes for visitor bureaus and tourism boards. So not every place is a tourist destination, but some tourist destinations or some bureaus are regional. So if you've been looking for an opportunity to put yourself on the map in a new way, a pop-up is a really fun, buzzworthy thing to connect to tourists coming into town. It really localizes the experience, and it often piques the interest of these organizations that can have funds to put toward the initiative and to help support it in other ways. Libraries and community centers, we're talking, buzz building in all different ways, whether that's online or email or literally hanging posters that get the word out, postcards that can be distributed through the local library, community center. It's really this local effort. So use every resource at your disposal and make sure everyone in your municipality is going to be helping build buzz and talking about what's going on. Local media. Even if you don't have a huge reach in terms of PR, every visible publication makes a difference. Online, local print, regional papers, there's so many different ways to spread the word. And so we highly recommend working through your communications department, putting together a press release, a media alert, inviting local press contacts to come to the ribbon cutting, bring a photographer, send photos that you take after the ribbon cutting. There's so many different ways to give them content to help highlight this and make it really easy. With staff being sort of light in some local papers, just pulling together those visuals, those storytelling moments, quotes from both the brands and your stakeholders, the mayor, town manager, whoever it may be, can really shape the story and make it something that they want to share. And these stories typically get really great readership and traction, so that just reinforces why they'd like to cover it. And then local event coordinators. So that can tie in with farmers markets and different festivals going on. Give the brands popping up every opportunity to be part of the community and even time the opening around these things. We see seasonal festivals or the launch of a summer farmers market. Even if it's slightly before, there's an opportunity for the brands to have a presence there or to promote that they'll be opening. So there's just all these simple ways that things can be connected. And it's really nothing is too small or too large to go for. Just keep that mindset of getting the word out far and wide.
I just had a quick comment. We invited our local high school band to do sort of like they're gonna march us, to start off an arts walk or whatever. And it's been really great because it's no cost, and all the
Yes.
parents come down to watch their kids. So it's like they never refuse, an opportunity to see their kids play. And it's just really festive and fun. And the bands are psyched because they're getting kind of downtown exposure. It's been really a fun, so get to know, basically, I think it's a really fun suggestion to get to know your public school music group, because they're desperate to be part of the community. Not desperate, but like that was one of their goals, like this year, to be more community based. And it's been really successful because I feel like whatever happens, you start off the day with a group of people, both the band members and the parents, and then everyone's like, why is everyone downtown? So it's been really helpful to us. That's all.
Amy, that's a fantastic suggestion. I think the more you can get the school groups involved, the local dance schools, any sort of community roots driven organization where the parents are going to come and the kids will show up, it absolutely is super powerful and just there's so many different creative ways to get people through the door. So essentially just reinforcing here that a strong launch really sets everyone up for success. promoting it across all different channels, social media, encouraging shares, encouraging the brands to perhaps offer a little discount to those who are sharing across social media, getting others to feel involved in this whole experience can make their presence that much more visible and the word reach far and wide. Again, the ribbon cutting, getting into a little bit more detail here, it's really special when local leadership can attend. There's often a proclamation or a certificate of achievement that can be presented and personalized to the brands. And we've seen that have such an amazing impact where they're brought to tears because they feel so welcomed into the community, where they have worked so hard to make this happen and worked closely with each of you, and then they're getting that acknowledgement and they're getting a keepsake, and it just really sets the relationship up in a very positive tone, and it's something everyone can feel really good about. So just using the moment to capture content, make sure you take those photos, invite lots of people to get behind the ribbon and get the big scissors going and cheer them on. This is just a special signal of their hard work and yours. Okay, so that is essentially the finish line of this program. We are going to take some time to talk about all of the details, answer questions, but just thinking about how this is a temporary initiative, but it's something that can be replicated and that it has ripple effects and impact long after the pop-up. So the goals vary from municipality to municipality, but essentially creating this retail incubation funnel, welcoming these brands to test out doing business in your community, and then paving the way for them to perhaps lease a permanent space, become permanent chamber members, become part the population. We've seen brands move to an area because they had such a delightful experience with their pop-up. They want to be a part of that community long term. So there's so many different ways that this can have an impact on the individual brand founders, on the community, and just get some camaraderie going. We do have one more session this week, just on June 5th, for an extra office hours, and we will be sharing this and sending it out. We have a really robust tool set in the companion workbook that goes with this one. It includes a checklist for you to pass along to the brand. So in addition to the marketing support you're giving in your own channels, there's a checklist that is essentially a timeline that you can pass along to them and that they can feel well equipped to use, and just like reminders of basic things and some creative ideas of how they can market for themselves, because it is not 100% your responsibility. It is definitely theirs as well, but it needs to be a collaborative effort.